I will say welcome to the show, and my name remains Kike Atanda-owo. That doesn't change at all, and I have my exciting, opinionated co-host. Let me start with Marshall. How are you doing, Marshall?
My name is Marshall Anthony Onoye. I'm not a woman, but I'm a proud supporter of the women folk.
All right, thank you for always correcting me. All right.
Oh my God.
We have Dami on the table.
Yes,
Dami, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. It's good to be here. Hustling and bustling in Lagos. It never stops. We keep growing and rigmaroling in it, but we're here.
That's what women do. We multitask. We do it
I
all.
mean, you're carrying a child, you're winning another, you're combing your hair, you're lacing your shoe.
What do the men do? Multitask.
You the one to answer that question for us.
You should tell us.
All I know is a woman can play many roles till the end of her time, and that is more like a legacy that women try to leave behind, and I don't think women can beat that. Anyways, let's listen to Today in History. We'll be right back.
Right.
On this day in history, Thursday, March 18, 2013, exactly 8 years ago, 41 people died in a suicide car bombing that struck a bus station in Kano. The suicide attack was committed against Christian civilians at the Kano bus station, all of whom were boarding the buses to go to the mostly Christian south. The explosion came hours after another attack blamed on Boko Haram killed a teacher and injured 3 students in Maiduguri. The Volkswagen Golf, packed with explosives and driven by 3 suicide bombers, sped to 5 buses, which were being boarded by civilians, mostly Christians, to East and South Nigeria. The car hit one of the buses and exploded. After the explosion, people started evacuating from the remaining buses. A fire spread to the 4 remaining buses, many of which still had passengers in them. Sources like the Vanguard claimed the attack killed up to 60 people. BBC claims it was 22, and according to Reuters, the number is 25. Though the targets of the attacks is not disputed, the buses were carrying mostly Christians, the main target of Boko Haram.
All right, listening to Today in History, I think that was like 8 years ago. You know, I don't care what reports or different media houses are given, you know, but the most important thing for me is that people died, whether it is 1, whether it is 5, you know, and the fact that Boko Haram, they keep, you know, I stand to be corrected, keep targeting Christians in all of this is something that we all need to understand, that we should, you know, come together, you know, in unity, understand that we are one regardless of your cultural differences or religion, you know. And, you know, Masha, what's your take on this?
Yeah, it's so sad, you know, reflecting on Today in History. I'm somebody who lived almost all my life in the North and having experienced series of all these attacks. You know, it traumatizes me when I read this news and, you know, watch the videos. You're right, Kike. We need to do all we can do to prove that, to show the world that we are one, Christians and Muslims in Nigeria. But the Boko Haram have their agenda, and I wouldn't even want to preach to them about being the oneness or the unity of the nation. But it's unfortunate. Let's keep doing all that we can do to propagate the unity.
Okay, I think that on Boko Haram, the bit knowledge I have about it is Boko Haram, it's Western education.
Forbidden.
It's forbidden. So how did Western education, how did the forbidden Western education come into killing? I think that it was just a purported report to say maybe Christians. Boko Haram will kill Christians or Muslims. There are some people behind this agenda. Like you said, the agenda is not what is happening now, but it has been taken over. And now that it has been taken over, what do we do? Who do we call? It started just like a joke, and before we knew it, it started escalating. And now it's something that we cannot even...
It's becoming a business.
It's becoming a business. It's something we cannot even almost capture again. It has gone wide. Now it's like
negotiating with criminals.
With criminals, with bandits.
And seeing organization and even government parastatals coming together to say that they need to create a department for it. And I'm saying, seriously, with all the challenges we have in this ongoing in this country, the next thing is for us to create a department where we start negotiating with criminals. Oh no, you know what? It's important for us to just drift a little bit away from what we're talking about. And let's, you know, It's Women's Month, guys.
Now,
Let's take a musical break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
All right, guys, the song that we just listened to, you know, it's a good one, but at the same time, it's very touching. You know, what's your take with this Atanda-owo song? When you listen to it, sometimes when you need music like this, when you are low in spirits, you know, yeah.
Atanda-owo for me it's a song from the deepest path of motherhood. Because most of us women in this country, Nigeria, we cry a lot training our children, either physically, emotionally, mentally. We go through a lot of stress, knowing that there's no adequate and enabling environment for a woman to really thrive. So you do different things just to make sure that that tears becomes joy one day. Then when you see your child grow up, work, get good jobs, and they're doing well, I mean, that's the ultimate joy that something has sufficed for the suffering of the long time. That's Atanda-owo for me. It's very touching. I have goosebumps all over me. It's very touching.
All right.
This Nigeria.
All right. So just like Dami have said, this video is even much more better when, you know, you remember it, and it's a thing that, you know, everybody can reckon with. And on today's show on Real Talk with Kike, we'll be looking at trending stories and events beyond within Nigeria that affect our women. Before we dive into today's topic, it's important for us to understand that women go through a lot of challenges across the globe, and yet we still chose to challenge. So you know, and more importantly, a few days ago, the nomination for the Academic Awards have been announced, and actress Viola Davis, you know, has made history, so to speak, as the most nominated Black actress ever. So news like this gets me excited, and I'm like, okay, I'm so proud of my brown skin girls. I'm still a brown skin girl.
That's why you went brown today.
We are recognized all over the world, across the globe, and you know, I can't help but thank women like this that are changing narratives for our children that they can actually look up to become great people. So discussing topic of the day, let's moving straight into the topics of the day, because we have been looking at few stories that caught our attention. But first, there is a thin line between love and hate. It is a serious issue. How women get to be at the suffering end sometimes in matters of love and hate. You see a relationship or marriage that started so well, so rosy, and at the end of the day, goes sour and violence comes in. And just after the news of Femi Fani-Kayode and his ex-wife on alleged domestic violence issue, I have come across also a Delta lady, Abu, the name Okemutu, who stabbed her boyfriend. I don't know if you people saw that, an egg of 8 years relationship to death just because of not sleeping in. You know, when you listen to stories like this, when you see stories like this pop up on your phone timeline, you wonder what's going on with our marital institution. I keep telling people, you know, marriage is a beautiful institution. Is this something that I would like to dive into in the nearest future? The answer is yes. Forget that I've been divorced twice or whatever. And I say it with my two shoulders high. Do you understand? Because there's nothing to be ashamed of.
But I think it's better you're divorced than being dead.
Yeah, it's exactly my point.
That's
you know. And at the end of the day, I think it's important for us to open our phone lines to get public real talk, to share some real talk on the show. Please call us on the number on the screen, or tweet to us on our Twitter page, Real Talk with Kike. And again, many thanks for staying with us, for listening to us thus far. Marshall, listening to what's your take? You know, isn't it something to worry about, that partners killing each other, or some marriages today do not last as long as our parents or our grandparents stayed in? What do you think is the challenge? Do you think it's technology, or do you think it's just the water that we are drinking today? Or is it just the fact that women now have a voice to say that, you know what, whatever thing my parents went through, I'm not just going to take that. What's your take on it as a man?
Well, you said most of it, but maybe you said it in a different kind of way. Truth is, times have changed, and civilization has brought about several awareness, several awakening. the rate at which we talk about women empowerment, the rate at which we want to talk about women participating in politics and giving more rights to the women folks in the society has massively, increased. There's an evolution for the rights of the woman. Dami, the way you're laughing, you're pumped up about to say something. But I'll say this. I'll just say this, that...
Dami, by the way, what's your own take with what we're discussing earlier, that how will a loving relationship just go sour? Especially using Fani-Kayode and his ex-wife.
Maybe Precious. I would agree on one side that the threshold for patience is now very little. Very little in the sense that, yes, women already understand the capacity and how flexible they can be. If we look at married to for a case study, that institution, some men come into marry because they feel that they have autonomous right over you. They might have the right, yes, from family, paying dowry, but they don't even have the right over your life and how you breathe. That's for God. But sometimes it comes back to family background and family settings, where we grew up from, how we grew up, who are the mentors around us. If you've had an uncle or an auntie who had a crashed marriage, or some children even are products of broken homes, but they try to manage till when they get into marriage. And when they get there, it's not what they were used to or what they grew up with. So it's like everybody has a voice. Then you can't mistreat somebody and ask her not to voice out. You can't treat somebody ill in an ill manner and say she should not talk. The same thing with a man. Like the other day we were having a discussion and you said, okay, men too face it, but they man up. It's the society. It's our cultural beliefs. Oh, no matter what happens in your husband's house, don't break down. You have to keep going. Yorubas will say, yali okoni. What's the yali oko that is damaging you psychologically? What's suffer for my children that is pressuring you emotionally? All right,
so I just want to add to one of the things you said there, and I don't think I've ever said this loudly, as in publicly. Sometimes our foundation and our choices, we are a product of our choices. And I would say that in as much as we've gone through, or I've gone through, let me be specific now, some of these challenges when it comes to marital issues and all of that, I cannot 100% point fingers at the other party. Reason being that I'm a product of my choices. There are times that we see these red flags, and you excuse them based on love, or thinking that he will not do that to you. Excuse you. He met you by chance. He will leave you by chance. He will do everything by chance because you have embraced it while he was doing it to another person. Again, let me bring it back home. That is where how I grew up, and my grandmother trained me, and I realized that growing up, subconsciously, we pick some characters, we pick some things that we never even know that it's in us. She was married twice, and I realized that she couldn't take any bullshit from any man, pardon my word, And at the end of the day, unconsciously, I picked it up like, Marshall, want to do any funny thing, I just say, all right, bye now, I'm leaving. Do you understand? So we have to actually sit down to think about some of the challenges we are going through, to reorientate ourselves. The things that I know today, right? If I knew them 5-10 years ago, will I still go through the same thing? The answer is no. Do you understand? Probably because I'm more matured. I would not support any domestic violence. Do you understand? If a man raises his hand to eat you, I would say to you, he will do it again. Walk in change. But the second thing is that when it comes to cheating, my dear brother, I will not leave any man. Please, I'm not talking about people who are single. I'm not talking about people who are in a relationship. Or situationship. I'm talking about people who are in marriages. Do you understand? I will not leave a man, Marshall, today because he cheated. The question is, the next man you are going to meet, are you sure he's not going to cheat? It takes the grace of God. There are only few men today that I have met. I can categorically tell you that they actually committed. They are not into things like that. But 97-98% of men today that we know, I don't want to say.
Maybe let me ask Masha, what percentage do you belong to? The 97 or the 3?
The 97, Joe.
Are you speaking for him?
I think at this juncture,
where do you belong, first of all?
To call in and also tell us what they think about
Marshall, where do you belong?
Leave your man? If you're a woman and you're watching us, call us and let's know your opinion.
Marshall, where do you belong?
I'm not running away from that question. I'm just trying to set things
in place, emotion.
Yeah.
Marshall, Where do you
Where
belong?
do I belong in
Your wife is watching.
Answer her by saying that where did Kike get the statistics from? So that you can save yourself from your wife.
Are you within the 97
of what?
97% of men that go elsewhere?
Okay.
Or the 3% that stay committed?
You know the truth.
The truth.
That are faithful.
The truth. Please put your right hand up. The truth.
I choose to challenge.
The truth.
Can I speak?
Oh yeah.
You know, before I met my wife, you and I were in a very intimate relationship.
You and I call. It's not me and you.
My wife.
No, you.
So why would you be asking yourself the question? I've been happily married for 13 years, and I don't think I've had any of such issues. It's not about me. It's not that Kike is, citing herself as an example in this instance doesn't mean that every other person can use himself or herself as an example. There is a general or universal rule that applies. It's not just about where I belong in the 97
where
or
do
98.
You belong?
Well, I don't know if that even if that statistics is even correct. So to begin to answer you as to where I belong, I belong to the faithful men who have been happily married and who intend to
reflect Association of Responsible Married Men.
The big question here is, would you leave your man if he cheats on you? Because that's what I was able to deduce from what you were saying. Because you said you wouldn't give a vote for domestic violence. But in a man cheating, from your own perspective, from your own experiences, you've been able to garner that men would always, a larger population of men would always leave. Always cheat. And for that reason, a woman should stay. And I take an objection. I take an objection to that. And to say that if a man cheats on you, even in marriage, I think, I'm not an advocate for divorce. I'm not an advocate for separation. But I think it's enough.
Masha, we have public opinion. We have a call on the line. Hello.
So me, I cannot leave my husband because he's cheating on me. But
let me sit down properly on this chair.
That's it.
Married to my husband. So along the line, before she got married to my husband, they drove me and my children out. So I was praying that my husband should realize I'm his first wife. Later, my husband came back to me to beg.
Beverly, are you there?
All right, many thanks for calling in. You've heard our own opinion. And the reason why I said that, see, I stand to be corrected, guys, because I understand that there are quite a number of people. I know sometimes after this show, I'm always receiving phone calls back to back. Listen, guys, I'm talking from a place of experience, and I'm saying to you that will never be my choice to quit that marriage, because you see, we've forgotten some certain things. Our mothers, our grandparents, they went through all of this, and at the time when women didn't have a voice, so to speak, were not empowered, do you understand? And they stayed through. I know some of them died bitter. Some of them died not being happy. But today, the most important thing I'm going to share with a woman is to empower yourself and get busy. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
When you're busy, listen, as of today's
value.
Yeah, exactly. As of today's day, whether the man is even faithful, the best of men are men. Women will show themselves as a man. Do you understand?
Yeah,
either for fame, whether for money
or for
all
anything.
sorts. Do you understand? Or for your good looks, Marshall. Do you understand? And because I know all of this today, do you understand? I just felt that because I'm faithful, you should be faithful. Don't forget that our cultural differences, our foundations are different. You are coming from a background, maybe it might be polygamous in nature. I'm coming from a background where we are just maybe monopoly, that is just my father and my family. Do you understand? And I'm not exposed to that. So there are some things that we need to
that would be so strange.
I understand. We need to unlearn to.
I think with what you're saying, we have to take it back to God.
Yes. Thank you.
Because let's look at the ratio of children being birthed. Boys over girls. There are more boys than girls. So if you have like 7 boys and 3 girls, please, how will the mathematics go round?
Ladies, with all
right,
so
guys, you guys, bringing it back to our conversation with Fani-Kayode and Precious that is ongoing. You know, what's your take? What's your take with everything that is going on?
I feel the man wasn't man enough. I feel he wasn't man enough. And to have heard the other version of the story, he was quick to come to the public space, accuse the lady. I think that was too childish, that was too unmanly. And then to now hear the other side of the story from Chikwendu, it was appalling, to hear all that transpired in his
All right, many thanks for that submission. We have a caller on the line. I think it's the previous caller. Hello, can you hear me?
Beverly?
Hello?
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. So my husband came back to me to apologize. I have to forgive him because of the children I have for him. I go back home. So when I get home, the woman from abroad came. He said my husband didn't inform her that she wants to come and beg me. I said, I'm the owner of the husband. If you marry my husband, you are just a citizen. I don't give a damn. So I cannot leave my husband because of he was cheating on me. I cannot leave my husband. So let the woman come and share the man with me. So that is it.
All right,
Men have turned to
I like what
gold.
you said. She is
Shared
the
owner of the man,
husband. If you want to
entitled
share,
owner. Come, there's space. I will shift. Don't ask me to stand up. It's not possible. Because leaving a man for cheating is like leaving a country because it rains. It rains everywhere.
Exactly.
It rains
There was a
everywhere.
video
It's a phenomenal thing
There was a video
already.
shared with us on the group. We shared together, and it was about this lady who was saying, "Look, men would always be men." I think you guys have that opinion that men would always be men. They would always cheat.
But
They would always,
that's the
and
society where we live.
She was saying, "Why would you want to keep a man to yourself alone? Look at our fathers, like we're all saying here right now." And I asked the question on the group, and nobody answered. I said, I think we should even bring that video to the platform. Do you guys support what she was saying? Because she was propagating or promoting what's it called now? Polygamy, is it? Polygamy, yeah? And saying, look, I know my husband can cheat, and I don't even want to say this man is only for me. He's open to anybody. If you want, come in, and how would you take that invitation, Kike?
Okay.
I don't want to openly embrace that my husband will cheat and I will just accept him like that. No. You understand? But I know there are circumstances. So let me use an example. Probably you're in UN or you're working for government parastatals where I know that women will throw themselves at you
For free.
even if you did not chase them. They will throw them. Married women will throw themselves at you. Do you understand? The question is, are you disciplined enough to say that you will not pass, you will not cross the line? Do you understand? So it takes strong will of a man, discipline, to say that I will not do that. But if that happens, do you understand? Knowing that it's not something that is repeated, that it looks like a pattern, that you do it regularly, do you understand? Then I will forgive you on a one-off. Do you understand? Understanding the circumstance and the situation at the time. But when I see that you did it the first time, the second time, the third time, it means that it's a pattern. It's not something that
a behavior.
Because it's not just about the cheating. There are another health angles to it. What about this person brings in another, disease or whatever? Do you understand? And not just that, the emotional breakdown that women go through psychologically and mentally as well. So there are a whole lot of aspects to this, but bringing it back home to what's it called? I think we have another caller on the line. John. All right, Barrister John from Benin. Hello, please. Can you please share your perspective of the topic at hand?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Welcome.
We can hear you loud and clear. Good afternoon.
I'm listening to your program on the Silverbed about man cheating, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I just say, I don't suppose that I'm a Muslim. As a Muslim, I'm entitled to either marry up to four wives.
That's a good angle to look at it.
We look at that one as cheating. That is one. As a Christian, in the Bible, I don't see anywhere that it was stated that she marry only one wife. So I don't know whether I can discuss on those two topics, and let me see what they're going to say. Especially that man that is standing with there, that is with you. I want to hear his comment. Thank you very much.
All right,
Well, John, if you ask me, I'd come first from the Christian perspective. The Bible never. I don't think the Bible ever said a man would leave his house and cling to women. The Bible never said a man will leave his father and mother and cling to women. It said a man will leave father and mother and cling to a woman, and both of them shall live together as husband and wife. For the Muslim perspective, I'm not Muslim, but to the best of my knowledge, I do understand that the Quran, the Holy Quran, instructed that if you can love them equally, the four of them, if you can distribute your love, after that instruction of, giving you the privilege to marry more than one wife, it then said if you can love them. So if you cannot love them, can you? So John, ask yourself the question. And by the way, your name is John, and I'm wondering how you're a Muslim and entitled to 4 wives. Anyway, if you can distribute your love amongst your wives equally, go ahead then and marry 4. If not, stay with 1.
All right, thank you, Marshall, for that. I think, I still want us to stay focused on the topic at hand, because I know Precious is going through a lot right now, especially with the fact that our children are not presently with her. And, going through such challenges, is bad enough that, you guys have gone your separate ways. It's bad enough that your children have been held, FFK held, is our children, against your will, despite all that have happened, alleged domestic violence and the likes and all of that. So I'm wondering, what are the encouraging words that you can give to Precious right now if she's listening to you?
Dear Precious, your life is precious enough if you value that life. Because first things, no matter how many children you have, God forbid that they pass on before you do.
All right, hold your thought, please. We have Omo from Edo State. Omo. Hello, Omo. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your contribution on the show today?
Yeah, I'm watching a program on TV right now.
Okay.
For me, the Bible said, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. You never say wife, but he said wife, meaning woman. But if it happens to be, maybe something happened that the man was not able to control and he now met another woman. That is why the Bible still talks about forgiveness. You forgive the man, but if he tries it again and again, even God does not support divorce. God said in his book, I hate divorce. I hate divorce. That is what God says. So if God hates divorce, so the issue of divorcing a man is like unforgiveness. What that man did to you is still in your heart. So if you truly forgive that man, and Jesus told that man, he said, how many times will I forgive my brother if he sin against me? He said 70 times 7. And someone, even your husband, cannot sin against you 70 times in a day. You have to talk about 70 times 7. So I think if that kind of a thing comes up, you still have to forgive. Pray to God and leave God to help us and take charge of the nation.
All right, many thanks, Omo, for your contribution today. As you were saying.
As I was saying, I think the first important thing is a life. God forbid in this era, anything happens. You might have 12 children and they pass on before you. There is no child that dies and the mother will jump inside the grave with the child. It won't happen. So firstly, find your armory. Find your balance. Find yourself. Know what you want to do. There are sometimes that you fight against principalities and powers and you know in your mind that you might not win the battle. But if you're going to a war front prepared for even unforeseen circumstances, you have tendencies of winning. So first of all, this situation now, dear Precious, is hot. Find yourself. Find your emotional balance. Some women have gone to Yaba left because of this kind of situation. And at the end of the day, they lost the man, they lost the children. And the remaining thing is for the children to bring food and come and check on mommy and come and check on. But because the way God structured this life, nobody is dependent on anybody. It's you by yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just lend the voice behind Danny, what she said. Find your sanity, she used the word armory, find your balance. Emotionally, spiritually, you need to gain your balance. Your kids should always be your kids. Is he the father of your children? Yes, he is. Do you, in the confessions or the statements you made afterwards, I didn't see anything that indicates that he was ever maltreating the children. So I know several divorced parents who would always come back to say, oh, my husband is a good father to my children. So if that's the case, I don't think that should be the focus of your fight. The focus of your fight should be your person, your sanity. And I think that's for it. But I'd like to touch on something, Kike. A lot of you guys are saying, look, I wouldn't leave my husband if he cheats on me, but violence, I would leave. And some guys are saying, oh, forgive 40. Turn the case around, turn the tables around. If the woman cheats on the husband, would you, John and Omo and all the guys that called, would you leave your wife? Would you? Because the society frowns largely. Damn it, please.
Should we start with
Damn
you?
it,
You are a
please.
man here
Damn
now.
it,
You are a
please.
husband
All
now.
right,
Enlighten
all right,
us.
guys.
That
One out here, you know, listening to what you've said and you have said, I think it's important for me to give my submission on Precious issue.
Go ahead,
I
please.
honestly do not like to be judgmental about people's affairs, but as far as this issue is concerned, you know, Precious is a woman and a mother with four kids,
4 boys.
As a woman, and based on experience, I can confidently say I understand what you feel. I know what you're going through. It is tough and sometimes traumatic, being the month for International Women's Month. I support the justice of Precious. I stand by you. I stamp at everything that you stand for. I support my fellow woman. I want to use this medium, this platform, to urge other women to please support their fellow women. You know, women should rise and be there for her directly, physically, emotionally, mentally. She needs all the support she can get from us right now. And I will say to you, Precious, you know, if you are listening to me, I know it is hard. I know that right now I can only tell you that you should have a great support system around you, because I know that it's going to be really tough and really supportive. Let's go on a break and we'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with us. I think we should start with a call. We have a caller on the line. Sorry for holding you down for too long. Eddie, what's your contribution on today's show? Hello, Eddie, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. What you are discussing, I'm interested in what you are discussing. Are you with
We
me?
are aware.
Yes, that's right.
go ahead, please.
Are you hearing me?
Yes,
Go ahead.
100%.
Are you hearing me?
Ah,
You are
We can
doing
hear
well.
you. Go ahead.
Okay. I said there are many people that are still in marriage and they did not cheat.
Okay.
And I am one of them. I've married for 32 years now,
Wow. Good.
and I have
Nice.
not met
Commendable.
any other woman.
Good.
Good.
I've not met any other woman.
Okay.
I have two boys and 1 girl,
Fantastic.
Wow.
all right, thank
and
you, Eddie.
and they have all.
All right, many thanks, Eddie, for your contribution. Of course, we're
Again.
hearing from Eddie that he's been in
Marriage
married
for 32
years. You know, he's quite.
He's a grandfather.
It doesn't go to say that he didn't have challenges or there weren't ups and downs. There were
definitely.
times that he might have thought of even leaving, but you know, the ethics, the commitment, the morals, you know, kept him back.
I think commitment is more, because you look at somebody sometimes, especially your partners, you fall out of love. But what about that commitment you guys have shared from where you started? What are the things
The friendship too can hold you. But Kike, I'd like to give us an opportunity to hear you out, because I know you didn't land with that thought because you were getting quite emotional and you transferred that to almost all of us here, because we've all had our experiences as well. I've had my experience from my home to a very, very bitter conclusion where I lost my mom eventually. And so it can be so traumatizing, you know. So learning from that experience, and I'm in marriage, I go into my marriage with that confidence that, look,
This will work, and
you
I
know,
will be better.
It will
Yeah,
work,
that's
you
it.
know. So I'd like to give you a very strong backing to get to the drop of your final advice to
for Precious?
Precious.
All right, I think I've said it all. I can only say that this too will pass, because it will definitely pass. And every season that we go through in our lives, you know, it's just another learning that we should draw from. You know, sometimes God allows us go through certain things to bring us out better, for us to even grow on all fronts.
Like you've grown.
Exactly. And I know that's exactly what you're going to do. You are strong. I don't know you personally, but I know that the little I've seen about you, and of course on your social handles, you know, I can say that this too will pass and you will come out triumph. You
That
know?
means...
For those who are just joining us, you know, and you're wondering what have we been talking about, we've been talking about quite a number of things, especially when it comes to cheating, when it comes to Fani-Kayode and Precious, justice for Precious, and of course we've also been talking about what's it called, the
Viola Davis,
yes,
most
exactly.
nominated
So moving
black
quickly,
woman.
let's talk about the most recent news that caught our attention a few days back, was that of the Covenant University lecturer. Some parents sent their kids to private university, not just because of them, and not just because they can afford it, but because they are looking at different angles like strike, value for money, you know, security, and a whole lot of things, you know. And then this child is molested. How will you, as a parent, even feel? I'm talking about Dr. Stephanie Ukena, who raped a 17-year-old student in his office. And this was, you know, appalling to the ears and to the mind, let alone the sight. I wonder why people go into this, into such despicable acts, you know. Marshall, this news reaching us yesterday shows that it's so sad, you know, the heart of a man, you know, is full of evil. I'm just glad that the police have apprehended him. At least that was the news we got from the Ogun State Police Command yesterday. And I'm hoping that justice will be served. But what's your take to all of this that is happening? Do you think that the police and the law will prevail on this issue, knowing that in Nigeria there's a way we sweep things under the carpet and it's about who has the better cash in his pockets?
Yeah, my opinion might not be the popular opinion in this particular case.
Okay.
I do not advocate rape. I do not advocate child molestation in any way. But I've been privileged to investigate a child molestation case, which my findings in that investigation was that the man who was accused of molesting the child was innocent. However, it's the ultimate ultimate judgment lies with the court of law, which eventually found the man guilty. We still have we still hold our own reservations and our own biases on the judgment, and you know, that judgment is still in the appeal court, and he was eventually sentenced to jail. So I wish on this particular matter to hear the side of the man, because several things, Kike, I'll tell you, are not the way
it's portrayed.
You know, they're portrayed. But however, if peradventure it is the way it is, then it is very, very appalling. The school should be brought to book, not just the man. The school should be made to pay for that as well. You know, not just damages, but they should pay not just financial damages. They can afford to pay how much you bill them. But some certain restrictions should be put on that school itself. But let's not judge Stephen before he's judged. Let's listen to both sides and let's get the evidence. Because 3 years in that case I was telling you about, I found out that the man who was accused of molesting this child was innocent. I was a private investigator for that case. He was innocent. But where is he today? He's in jail.
Oh, that's quite touching. But if you bring it to my angle, I think that you said do not until you're proven innocent, guilty until you're proven innocent. But then we have a problem with the Nigerian judiciary.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty.
All right,
Thank you for
can you hold that thought? We have a call on the line. Hello? Okon, can you hear me? Oko, sorry, can you hear me, please?
Yes.
What's your contribution on the show today? Many thanks for calling.
My country is dirty. Really dirty for a man to cheat on his wife. What is he looking for out there that his wife does not have? Are you with me?
Yes.
So it is dirty. I got married to my lovely wife on the 9th of December 2000. As a lawyer, I meet beautiful ladies and girls. I ask them, what do you have that my wife does not have? So it's dirty and pure greed for a man to leave his wife for another, whether a girl or a woman. Now, concerning the issue of students, which is not entirely, which we investigate. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we investigate the girl and the man. You should know our educational system has collapsed. Our students do not read. So they believe on end grade. And that's what I can say about that. I am not saying it's on all cases. But majority of the girl students want an on-end grade. And these men, with their loose nature, fall for it. So we should not just go blanketly to talk about lecturer, relationship, rape this, rape that. As a lawyer, I know what we go through when it comes to rape cases. Thank you.
Many thanks for sharing your contribution on the show today, Masha.
I think I was talking about our judiciary system, and thank God that a lawyer called in. Sometimes it's weakening. I want to digress from the lecturer and the student to a real-life issue that I was aware. I went to court. A father was actually raping his child. After the first hearing at the court, the girl was there too. I'm sure that if somebody who knows this case is hearing. The next thing is that the police would not even communicate the next adjournment date, the IPO in charge of the case and the other person in the court of law that were supposed to let my friend know. This girl happens to be my friend's child classmate. Okay. So her father had constantly been raping us from the age 9 till 11. So that day, she just ran out and ran to my friend's house, who is the mother of her schoolmates. Okay. Do you understand? So it was my friend that took it up. They went to the police station. They apprehended the man, blah, blah, blah. They went to Malausa. And the guy was released. The man was released because my friend would not even appear in court. Okay. She didn't know anything.
One case among many. I want to say that I know that the Nigerian judiciary frowns very well on rape cases. It's very strong.
How long is this investigation period going to last?
One case amongst many. I would give it to the judicial system. Yes, but we know that loopholes here and there. On this particular case, like Barrister Oko has said, let's wait to hear from on the other side, from the other side, and not really judge the. I was in the academic institution too as an assistant lecturer, and I saw most of these things go around.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't throw the first stone on Dr. Stephen.
And that's why I brought it back to what I have a knowledge of. If if judgment and justice could be passed accordingly, a lot of people would not even be in the prison.
I was going to ask Kike and Dami, how did we get to the cheating part with Femi Fani-Kayode and the wife? Because let's put the information out there. It's not a case of cheating. And yes. I don't think she ever said her husband cheated on her. I don't think that's the case.
I think she's the third or the fourth wife.
That's not the case. Well, the case is their separation and how she's being treated right now.
Custody of her children, domestic
violence. Yes. And the man running his mouth. That's my own case with him. Running his mouth even before the woman.
Maybe we'll write him a letter from the Association of Responsible Married Men. You are a member too.
All
then
right.
we'll be able to, put the matter in black and white.
Thanks, Michelle. I think my submissions from the rape issues, honestly, I can't fathom these thoughts because this is a very difficult one. Which I don't pray for my enemy to even go through in the first place, but we should attack the problem first. Before the solution. And let's be more. Let there be more advocacy and a more punishable law that can deals with acts like this, and at least that will help curb a lot of these challenges that we're going through. Because I can imagine a parent who is struggling, trying to put your child in a private school where you know that there won't be strike and they'll be safe, and all of this is happening. So I think my parting note on today's show is that when we choose to challenge as the International Women's Theme for this year advocates, we should know that when we are in harmony as women, we achieve more in one voice. Even though the Bible says that, can we work together except we agree? Of course. My producer says, Amos 3 verse 3, I want you to know that our goals are aligned and the same passion can be used for the betterment of women across the globe. Remember, there's power in our voice, and winning is one accord, is in our DNA, so to speak. So we come your way next week. Keep being real.
Don't
And
look
by
away.
now-
She's Kike Lomo Atanda-owo.
I'm
Hashtag justice for
Marshall.
Precious. Justice for Precious.
Justice for
Justice for
Justice,
Precious.
okay.
Precious, we're with you.